congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Don't need that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are mourn, just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
So wheat, eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Sorry about that late start there. I'm not on top of the game completely today, but I'm here, and and we're going to do some stuff. What's up, Scott Cook and Sue Finelli in the chat? Nice to see you guys. I don't know, I'd probably talk about it a little bit, but I do have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease that affects your thyroid. And if you don't know anything about the thyroid affects everything in your whole body and your whole life. So I recently have, for, 4 or 5 years, I've been trying to, figure out dealing with this. And I'm on a pretty low dose of the thyroid medicine that helps. But I went recently and did my blood test. And just so you know, regular blood test for your thyroid levels, and that will not show you if you have Hashimoto's or not. You'll have all the symptoms of like hypothyroidism, like easily gaining weight and being lethargic and sluggish and all this. But those blood tests won't show anything. You have to get a special blood test that measures your Hashies, and I just got that done, and I have, again, over 999 Hashies, which really means that the test couldn't even test all of the Hashies that I have. And the Hashies are the little things, the little immune system T cells or whatever that are attacking my thyroid because my body's attacking itself. Who knows why this happens? It happens to women more than men, and it happens to women especially who have adrenal fatigue and adrenal failure, I think, more than others. And I definitely had that as well because I have lived a very stressful life. I am now much more calm. Anyway, my whole point of saying all of that about Hashimoto's is that I've recently finally started the Aip diet, which is the autoimmune protocol diet. And it is interesting. It's good. I feel better. I'm feeling better. I think the more I do it, I've only been doing it a few days, and I think the more I do it, the more I'm going to feel better and better and have a clearer and clearer mind and have more and more energy, and it's going to be good for me. But it's hard. You have like an emotional relationship with food. Most people do. You probably do. I'm saying you, but I mean just most people do, and I do, obviously. And so I've had like emotional attachment to letting go of these foods that I can't eat anymore, like cheese and potatoes and every single grain, like wheat and corn and like quinoa. Like I have quinoa, like all this stuff that I am not supposed to have now. There's a lot of it, but I'm trying to focus on the foods I can still have, and there's a lot of them too, and they're all delicious, and so it's good. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now, so I'm a little bit distracted by that, but I'm going to say what's up to Nachiketa in the house. Nice to see you here tonight. Scott Cook says the Lebanon bomb, and that's exactly what I was going to talk to you guys about. It seems fake, in my opinion. Maybe a false flag to kick off a new conflict. I was actually going to go the other route and say that explosion seemed very real to me. The footage of it and the like lack of non-stop information being shoved in our face about it, or at least for me, it makes it seem kind of real. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be used to start a new conflict, and that doesn't mean it's not a false flag. And maybe that's not what you meant. Maybe you meant it's a real bomb, but being used as a false flag to kick off a new conflict. My first thought was World War III, but then again, that was my first thought way back in 9/11, and World War III didn't happen. So could be anything, but we'll look at that a little. I have a crazy video, and I'm sure you guys have seen a bunch of it, but I don't really saturate myself in media that much, and so it was new to me. The video was that I'm about to show you, and it's pretty intense. It's crazy. Scott Cook asked, do I take iodine? No, in fact, taking iodine is very likely what caused this. So that, especially in our community, taking iodine is very popular. There's very good reasons to take iodine for most people, But I feel like it's kind of like taking too much acid when you're predisposed to being schizophrenic. When you take too much acid, or just any acid, and you're predisposed to schizophrenia, it'll like trigger your schizophrenia, and then you will have these schizophrenic episodes earlier than you might have otherwise, and more intensely than you might have otherwise. At least that's the theory, and iodine is something like that for people with Hashimoto's. So I already had a lot of I should say signs and kind of symptoms of autoimmune disorder before this, which could have maybe helped me understand if we were educated about these things, if I had educated myself about these things, that taking iodine might have been a bad choice for me. I think for most people it's probably fine. And again, you have to do really specialized blood tests to even find out what the problem is with Hashimoto's. So I don't know if it could have been avoided, but I know now that I wish that I would have known that taking iodine would have caused this, because it's been a pretty rough 4 years, and my life has changed dramatically because of Hashimoto's. So iodine was not a good thing to do for me. Although it does support the thyroid health of a lot of people, and it's not a bad thing. Although I'm kind of one with my acupuncturist when, she says like, yeah, take iodine, but take it in the form of food. Like eat seafood, eat seaweed, and other things that are naturally occurring in iodine. Don't take a supplement. It's way too easy to overdose. It's way too easy to not know how much you need. Whereas food, it's really hard to overdose on a micronutrient when you're eating it through food. So I am of the opinion that that is the best way to go. And if you are going to start a new supplement, you should probably know all of the pros and the cons and the possible side effects of it. So that's my iodine story with Hashimoto's. Cherry Falls says, the news said 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate. Interesting spot to keep a 2.7 kiloton device. That's a small yield nuke. Hope someone with a Geiger counter checks it out. Good point. That's exactly what I was going to say too. It looks like the shape we're told that nukes go off on. I know that in our community there are many people who think there are no such thing as nukes, and that's very possible. I don't deny the possibility. But realistically, if this thing exploded and it has that sort of mushroom shape, and the video we'll watch in a second was really powerful. It's a very large explosion, really powerful large explosion. So I don't know, whatever you want to call it, that bomb. That's a thing that apparently happened. And again, the amount of people, the amount of different angles it was caught from, the amount of people that seemed to be injured and harmed, the amount of clips that showed various aspects of it, like people bloody, buildings toppled. You could get all these and put them together and still pull this off as fake. Totally. It doesn't have a lot of the classic signs of a fake event used as a false flag. It has a lot of the characteristics of a real event used as a false flag. So, they're different things. They're both possible. Yes. And if I didn't say so already, what's up, Israel Adams, and what's up, Cherry Falls, and Allison Briseno. No, Allison Briscoe. I just combined two people's. Andrew Briseno is out there somewhere laughing. Allison Briscoe, what's up? Chloe Bell is in the house. Nice to see you, Chloe. Chicago says, what's up? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being saturated in the media as long as you're utilizing it to, see it clearly, use your critical thinking lens and not just be swept away by it, which I doubt you would be, Cherry Falls. I'm sure you are a critical viewer. Otherwise, you'd not likely be here. What are the symptoms of Hashimoto's? It's the same as hypothyroidism. You have lethargy, you have really a lot of weight gain for no reason, even if you exercise, even if you eat really well. It's nearly impossible to lose weight. You have a lot of symptoms like adrenal fatigue, it's similar to what I just said. You're just exhausted and you don't have a lot of energy. It mimics depression in a lot of ways like that. At the very least, because it mimics depression, you usually get depressed. It's like that whole thing. Like if you make yourself laugh, even if you're not happy, you'll get happy. It's the same kind of thing. You'll like have these like depression sort of symptoms, and then you feel depressed about it. So there's that. And then it really, really messes with all of your hormones, every single hormone that you have. And so you can get like hair in weird places, which I'm very grateful I don't have. My hair is sort of thinning and like You can't really tell, but I can tell. I have a lot of hair, if you didn't notice, but like it's a little bit more like brittle and weird than it ever has been. So I'm hoping that it doesn't start falling out, because that would be really annoying to deal with. Very grateful for my hair so far. I don't even dye it, and it's just it's very nice hair, and it'd be cool to keep it. But your hair you can have weird things with your hair. If you are a woman and you're having it, you're gonna have really, really messed up periods. You're gonna have like super bad cramps, probably just like weird patterns of bleeding and not bleeding, and like, you know, all of the worst symptoms you've ever had with like PMS and periods, but like magnified. And just a lot of the emotional parts of that, like where you just suddenly be just like crying for no reason. You are not even sad. I'm like, I'm not even sad. I was like crying the other day. I'm like, I'm not even sad. I'm just crying. Like, it was so annoying. It's really annoying because you like don't have control of yourself. And like, I know in my heart, my soul, I'm happy, but I'm crying. It's just bizarre. So I don't know how extreme my symptoms are. I don't talk to anyone else with Hashimoto's. So I don't know, but I did actually recently start watching videos of a woman which is how I got the idea to eat this special diet, the autoimmune protocol diet, because she was having all the same things I just described. And then she did the Aip diet, and she finally, her hair was healthy again, her skin was healthy again. She didn't have messed up hormones or emotional, ups and downs, and all of her symptoms went away. So I'm like, well, that's worth it. That's 100% worth it. And it's all stuff that if anybody ate this way, it'd be good for them. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's always good to be healthier. So yeah, that was my long answer. That's my symptoms of Hashimoto's. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on Hashimoto's someday. What's up, Lacey Mariposa's here? We got Max Amelon. Painting the skin with iodine seems safer too. That's a good point. Like, absorb it through your skin. I still don't know if you'd still want to be careful with dosing, especially if you're worried about Hashimoto's or thyroid conditions. And to be really clear, I didn't have any thyroid condition symptoms before I started taking iodine, and they all developed right after that. But I did have other autoimmune symptoms, and I have my whole life, and so they're probably combined. I mean, they're probably connected, but it's like, who's gonna prove that? People barely even know what Hashimoto's is, so we'll see what comes out of the woodwork. But I'm excited to know what Phoenix Aurelius learns, because he's doing investigations into Hashimoto's. And so as soon as he's sort of concluded, I mean, you never really conclude, right? But as soon as he's sort of got to a solid place there, he's going to let me know and see if that we can make progress on that front too. If that maybe there's like a spagyric tincture remedy, or he does IDF like broadcast frequencies. I hope I'm describing this right. And that he can embed them in like a device, and you can like wear it on a necklace. And so I'm really excited to see about that, because Phoenix is obviously, if you've watched any of his interviews, a super intelligent and well-studied person who doesn't just, trifle with bullshit. And so anything that he has presented so far has been extremely solid, and I'm excited to see what he comes up with. But yes, exactly, is in the house. Israel Adams. Oh my God, is that true? Israel Adams says it's the same date as Nagasaki. What? Did Nagasaki? Here, let's look this up. Let's get down to it. By the way, go to CoreySharman.com, grab a tarot reading. I just had the most amazing tarot reading today. It was really cool. And buy things in the shop, read stuff in this list of beautiful things to read. Do all of that. Go to rogueways.org. Sorry, rogueways.org is also the name of this site, or the way to get there. See what I mean? My mind is not in the right place. And also go to subscribestar.com/rogue-ways to subscribe and support your favorite show, Rogue Ways. It is awesome when I get you guys over there to subscribe, even at the $1 level. I appreciate that so much. And thank you to those who already have. But let me look this up. What was the date of Nagasaki? Nagasaki bombing date. Is that going to give me a proper result? August 6th and 9th. Almost the same date. We got August 4th. Weird, but I wonder if that's that similar, if there's something like the same celestial date almost or something. It's at least very similar timing, so that's interesting. We know that they like to play with those things to bring that trauma back up in our mind and use that ancient trauma and reverberate it, resonate with that again and bring all of that up again. So good call. What was that, Israel? Yeah, thank you, Israel, for pointing out that similarity. Yeah, Nachiketa, I think you're right. Someone is responsible for this bombing. Someone will be blamed, and the rest of us will have to pay. Probably true. What's up, Biggie Smollett is in the house. Digital apparition. Could it have been Fukushima, the Hashimoto'S? Yes, I also think that. Thank you for reminding me. The Fukushima had been happening, like the timing of me getting Hashimoto'S coincided with me taking iodine because I was taking iodine because I was nervous about the fallout from Fukushima because I lived in the coastal type of region of Washington state, and we were, you know, if that was a real event that happened, we were getting all of the radiation falling down on us. We definitely got the garbage, you know, from Japan washing up on the beaches. So that part at least was real. The tsunami was at least real. But whether or not, you know, this radiation was pouring out into the ocean, evaporating into the air, and then raining back down on us and getting in our milk and all of that, which is what they were saying, could happen. And by they, I mean conspiracy theorists and alternative thinkers, because the mainstream never once has admitted that there might be something negative about dumping all of that radioactive material into the ocean. But anyway, if that process was all happening, that timing of whatever that was 4 or 5 years ago was also when I developed Hashimoto's. So it's possible that the radiation did hit us and that affected my thyroid. Thyroids tend to be more susceptible to radiation degeneration as far as I understand things. So definitely, good point. Definitely could have been that. Elba Joe Loco is here. What's up? Nice to see you. Leap year offset. Yeah, seriously, it could be something like that. If that residents from Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you know. Ooh, Elba Joe Loco points out that Beirut is on the 33rd parallel. Good call. The 33rd parallel gets all kinds of shit happening on it all the time. Holy shit, Elba Joe Loco, you should be doing this show. Isaiah, that hurricane that's hitting the U.S. right now, also made landfall on the 33rd parallel in the United States, I'm assuming. Wow. So that we have parallel sort of like almost like explosive events happening on the 33rd parallel on the same day. Radiation is a hoax. Maybe. I'm not convinced about that at all. Everything is vibration, right? So everything is radiation. So there's radiation all around us all the time. Whether or not there's nuclear radiation or not, I have seen very convincing evidence that there might not be, but I still don't pretend to know. Here's the video I wanted to show you. It plays over and over again, so we'll see it start here again in a second. Like, look at that shit. Well, why does she say a scalar of explosion? A video I received on WhatsApp of the scalar of explosion in Beirut, confirming it was at the port. So again, it's just smoking and burning and then something explodes. You could very easily say there was something stored in there and that the fire, you know, reached it and made it unstable, but I really don't know. Someone points out right under this video, if it's still there. Like this person, Michael Newell, says to all that thinking this was a nuclear explosion, if it was, there would be no video and everything would be totally vaporized. Again, like if nuclear explosions happen, perhaps that person is right. Who knows? But under it, someone said, since it may have occurred underwater, which could obscure the flash, I'm not 100% ruling out a nuclear explosion. So I thought that was an interesting point too. Again, if nuclear weapons are real, maybe it was one and maybe it was coming from underwater. But I love that someone, I guess some mainstream source, is trying to say that it was fireworks. There was just all these fireworks that are just stored there. I mean, that's not how they would go off. Even if they were all stored there, they wouldn't go off like that all at once in this huge, you know, mushroom-esque cloud of explosion. That's not how it would happen. So yeah, no, it's not fireworks. If they're trying to say that, they're crazy. And that's another thing that makes me feel like it is a real event that will be either used as a false flag event or in some other method, because they never let any good catastrophe go to waste, right? But the fact that they're saying it's fireworks and it's clearly not is one sign, I think, that it's not necessarily planned. I don't know, though. they're super crafty sometimes in how they pull this shit off, but then other times they're super messy and leave all kinds of things for us to see, and that it, how fake it was. So I don't know. Right now it seems like they're trying to play sort of like catch up and cover, and that makes me feel like it's more likely a real event that will be used, obviously, but maybe was not necessarily planned for this moment, which is interesting. The 33rd parallel thing makes me wonder. But yeah. 3.3. I saw a 4.5 seismic event. But 3.3 is interesting. Let me see. Let's see if we can find it. Seismic reading for Beirut bomb. What do they say? More than 25 dead. The last I heard, that was up in the 30s. I'm sure it will rise. Thousands injured. I mean, look at this destruction. It is pretty. It's pretty immense. Whatever kind of bomb that was, it was a lot of damage. I don't know if this is going to tell me the or rather the seismic reading. Oops. There were like cars that were thrown and flipped on their heads, and just rubble everywhere and injuries everywhere from all of the, maybe not even shrapnel, but the force of the explosion throwing things through the air. This one is not going to tell me the seismic. What did I search for? Seismic reading for Beirut bomb. I don't know any other way to put that right now at the moment. Seismic shock across Beirut. Maybe it's just not going to tell us the actual measurement. They're just going to tell us it was a seismic shock. You're like, duh, it's a bomb. La la la. A bunch of information and not the seismic. I just saw it though right before this show, and it was for the thing I saw said 4.5, and that was some distance away even. So I don't know, but I would not be surprised if somewhere it says 33. Let's try it this way. 33 and Beirut bomb. I don't see 33 anywhere, except that this was published at 8:33 p.m. 33 years after Beirut bombing, a survivor remembers. I think that's old though. I don't think that's from today. Yeah, this is on 2016. So I don't know. But that explosion though, that's crazy sauce. The thing that makes me really sad is that I have a friend from Lebanon, and he was just talking like, I want to say maybe like a week or two ago, and I saw a post he had made, and he was saying how horrible it is because in Lebanon right now, this whole coronavirus shenanigans has shut everything down and has affected things. And I guess in Lebanon, it's affected things even more than here. And there's all these people who can't get access to food or medical care or medicines or just basic, water and just basic things, even in pretty populated modern areas. And I don't know how much you guys know about Lebanon, but Lebanon is not like one of these countries where we know people are sort of trying to like flee or move out of. It's not like a super oppressive. It's not like, Saudi Arabia or something. It's one of the Middle Eastern countries. It's pretty awesome, pretty stable. I mean, they have their violence, and that whole region does, but just, as far as we tend to think on a surface level of the Middle East, Lebanon is sort of one of the more modernized and open and, I don't know, socially forward places there. And besides the fact that they have excellent food and just a lot of beauty and history, but it's not a place that we would, sort of equate with like third world type of conditions or conditions that people might want to flee from. It's a place that, I mean, this guy doesn't live in Lebanon anymore. He lives in Canada, but it's only because he likes to travel and, happened to marry a Canadian woman. And otherwise he would be there. And he was, just really frustrated at how he couldn't get money to them and he couldn't get any goods to them and he couldn't even go back to visit because all the borders are closed. And it's just so frustrating to watch your family and your friends suffer for no reason when you're living in like relative comfort. And, I was just lamenting with him, like, there's like nothing we can do. They're not accepting, money can't even be like transferred for some reason that he was explaining that I didn't understand. And it just seems like they're being pushed into this really awful situation. And now we have this bomb on top of that. So I was like already sort of hurting for Lebanon. And then this has happened. And here now we're up to 70 people dead in this article, which is 31 minutes ago. Let's see. I don't really want to watch too much video of carnage, but we'll see if there's anything here. Jesus.
What?
Whoa.
What? What?
That was pretty crazy. And that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of we don't usually see multiple different angles like this from so many different people and so many different scenes of all showing the same exact thing. Usually, if it's a true false flag in the sense that it is totally faked. So I think we can all be on the same page that an actual explosion took place here. So we're up to 70 people dead, 4,000 injured. Let's see if there's any fun numbers in this article. And this is the other thing. Usually at the very beginning, I mean, things change a lot if it's a false flag, but they don't change. They change in much different and more obvious ways. Whereas this is like the death numbers are going to go up just like they always do. But I don't know. There's no narrative around it yet. And it just feels like they're going to use it in some way, but I don't know that it was necessarily super planned out. I don't know. It's hard to say. Sometimes I think things just blow up, but we'll find out, right? All these buildings have collapsed. Glass is everywhere from all the broken windows. So, yeah. Ammonium nitrate. A number of different uses. Fertilizer or explosive. Highly explosive when it comes in contact with fire. I mean, this is the other thing. Like, is it possible they actually had 2.7 kilotons or whatever we heard earlier? Is it possible they have that much ammonium nitrate for just sitting there ready to be like shipped out for fertilizer or whatever? I don't know. I don't know how often that would happen. I would need more information to know. But that was a pretty epic explosion. Like, I would also like to know if that's how easily ammonium nitrate can explode in such a crazy manner as that, why would we ever store it in mass quantities? You'd think we would know. You'd think we would learn. They are definitely calling for help. Ugh. Iran and Israel are both saying that they would help, even though there's some iffy relationships there. Anyway, so yeah, they do have tensions and a lot of political turmoil and whatever, but recently things have gotten a lot worse with this whole coronavirus nonsense and the economy crashing and all of that. And then now there's this, and who knows what'll come from this. But we also have this seemingly unrelated thing that we'll look at, and I will catch up with the chat real quick. And yeah, it could be a frequency weapon or an energy weapon of some kind. Definitely, especially if, let's say, they knew that there was going to be a lot of ammonium nitrate stored there, and they can just beam in a certain, like, you know, we've seen them explode things, allegedly, from a great distance using lasers. So why not? Good call, Alex Pletcher. It definitely could be that. Yeah, Chloe Bell says, I like to think that weapons are real, but how they operate will always be top secret knowledge. I tend to agree. They definitely have weapons. Cherry Fall says, I heard of an acoustic weapon before in Vietnam, but I can't find anything on it. Yeah, no, they definitely have acoustic weapons. In fact, we were thinking about this, Johnny and I, about why they haven't used their sonic and acoustic weapons for crowd control, which we know they have them for, with all of these riots and stuff. And clearly the conclusion is that they want this all to be happening because we know they could disperse riots super easily if they wanted to. But yeah, good call, Cherry Falls. I wonder if we can see, what is that, flight path tracker or something? Live flight tracker, real time. Let's see if we can look at Beirut. I say Beirut. Hopefully that's cool with everyone. Sure. I don't know how to use this, so we'll see. What? Go away. Okay. Here's some flights. Look how it's all kind of like cleared out in the middle here. I wonder if that's normal or if that's like a response to the bombing. I wish it showed their trails and not just where they currently are. Somebody who knows better than me is like, you can, idiot, it's just like this. I don't know, but there's some flight paths. There's a lot going in and out of Cairo. Cairo, not Cairo. Oh, yeah. What's up, Lori Wentz? I get to hug Lori Wentz soon, and I'm very excited. Go to CNN headlines. It says 333. Let's see. CNN Beirut. The blast damaged CNN's Beirut bureau. Ooh, like anyone cares. I'm still not seeing it. What if I try this? CNN Beirut 33. I still don't see it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying for some reason I'm not allowed to see them. I'm not allowed to see the number 33 there. So I also, I still didn't finish catching up with the chat. Joseph Correa says, I was listening to a podcast earlier that connected The Tempest and Brave New World to the book of Isaiah. Oh, really? That's fascinating. Well, tell me what podcast it was. I should be talking to them. But I'm also going to make a note of that. Tempest. Sorry that you have to watch me make notes. Brave New World and Book of Isaiah. Yeah, no, I'm glad you shared that, Joseph Correa. And what's up? Nice to have you here. Definitely relates to that episode that we did here on Brave New World. Quote, Elba Jaloco is saying, a quote from the CNN headline says, explosion generated seismic waves equivalent of magnitude 3.3 earthquake. Those motherfuckers. Let's see. We got it. Magnitude 3.3. But it's actually saying that it could be, I mean, clearly there's those numbers. Good call, good catch. But also it's saying that 3.3 would be higher if this detonation had happened like in the earth instead of on the surface, which is also interesting. Why did it explode so perfectly like a singular bomb? Exactly. That's why I don't really, even the sodium, or I already forget, like the chemical they say it is. Ammonium nitrate or whatever. Yeah, I think it was ammonium nitrate. Whatever. That's why I don't believe that very much either, for the same reason. Even if it was highly explosive, why would it explode so perfectly all at once? You know, just like the fireworks thing that they were trying to say at first or whatever. It would just be so chaotic and random. It wouldn't be so uniform. Right. All those views look fake to me. They could be. I mean, they could be. There's definitely, they're going to get better and better at pulling this shit off. I just look at all the shit that they fuck up in other false flags. And I'm like, why, if you're so like, if you want to be so perfectionist about it, why would you have never done it in any of the other ones? That's where I kind of stand. Like, it's impossible that this is all completely fake. It's not impossible that it is completely real and still a false flag. Yeah, Nachiketa, good call. That Oklahoma bombing for that federal building was supposedly fertilizer as well. But yeah, there's some reports that say it was a missile, or same as the 9/11 towers falling, was that it was planted ahead of time and it was a planned detonation. Not that the whole building fell like 9/11, but that same sort of thing, like they were going in ahead of time and putting them there. So you hear so many things. Yeah, I don't know. I thought frequency weapons and lasers, and my understanding is they could cause an explosion like that if they were to hit something that in itself could cause that explosion. So they themselves don't necessarily cause explosions, but they can ignite something. And so if they already had a bomb waiting there and they could set it off from afar, like, who knows? Yeah, Bob Dylan. Sorry about that explosion there. I just crossed a few wires. Oops. My, wow. How did I just... My fireworks pile just got a little out of hand. Like, my bad. Oh, if I click on a plane, it'll show the path. Thank you. Is anyone saying the explosion looked CGI? That's a thing. I don't know how we would even know anymore. You know? Like, we could watch that video like 18 more times. There's no way we'd be able to tell. And that other one, wherever that was, I was not here, but whatever the other video montage we watched, like that could be fake. It could be real. It's just, it's almost impossible to say. I've seen some CGI where I'm like, that's real. And then they're like, show that it's not. I'm like, holy shit, it's not. I just really don't know. If it's an illusion, Alex Pletcher says it's going to be holograms. That definitely is a good point, too. Like, you could be standing right next to it. But that sound, though, can you fake that sound? That sound is pretty unique. Yeah, I don't know. It seems real to me, too. Have I, like, just asked my highest self in my body, like, is that a real bomb that went off? Actually, there's a question about that. Weird. Let me rephrase it. Was that possibly ammonium, whatever the fertilizer thing is, that got like overheated and like turned into a bomb? Maybe not. I've never done this live on air before though, so I'm not sure how much clarity I can get. Maybe I should have meditated on it before I did this. Somebody wanted someone dead. Possibly, yeah, right? Alex says, cars being flipped and windows blown out 15 miles away is suspect and points to some unidentified technology. I don't know. If it could be a huge bomb, does that, you know? I'm not sure. What's up, Chris Phoenix? Nice to see you. Yeah, Scott, I have the same questions. Like, Scott says, I don't think they ever fuck up. Anything obvious is meant to be seen. Pissed on breadcrumbs. I'm of the same mind. I'm like, they want us to see through how easy it is to cow most people and to convince most people that something is real when you can pretty easily debunk it. I think things like that, it's just like part of the psyop to fuck with you. Powers and Principalities with Tim Kelly. Thank you. I'm going to make a whole new tab for that note. Maybe Tim and I can chat. I think I spelled Kelly wrong, but we'll make it work. Yes, Chris, we have been talking about the explosion in Beirut. Sorry if I'm really behind in chat. I like to read what you guys have to say. You're so smart. You bring so many good things. Yeah, you can fake a video. Good point. You could also fake audio. That is true. You could easily fake it. Here, let's watch this again. Why do they have music to this? Okay, that was weird. This video is boring. There's no explosions. Okay, so that was just smoke. Oops. Ugh. Okay, that's all really annoying. It's all just the columns of smoke. Oh, that's because I'm on a totally different... So you guys, I told you I was not on top of my game today. This is the totally different thing. This is the huge explosion ripping through a Chinese chemical factory near Wuhan, killing 6 people, or who knows if there'll be more after this. I just am weirded out that there was another huge explosion on the same day, around the same time. I wonder, is Wuhan on the 33rd parallel? Let's find out. The 49th parallel. Maybe. Why? Yeah. Is Wuhan that far up? Wow. I did not mean to press restream. You guys just have to forgive me for all of this. What parallel is Wuhan on? I'm going to go with 49th parallel north. I guess we can go on Google and find out. Or not. Do you have to go to Google Earth to find parallel? Latitude and longitude? What is the latitude of Wuhan, China? Is it 30? That's kind of close to 33. Why did they say 49? Why was that coming up? Dude. It's pretty close to 33. It's not 33, but that's interesting nonetheless. So, this also interested me because these chemical factory explosions keep happening all over the world. I don't know if you guys remember, and I didn't take the time to go find every example, but there's been like 10 examples in the past few months, and I don't know about you, but I didn't hear about any chemical factories exploding before that. I maybe like a couple times in my life, but like, why are so many exploding in 2020 specifically? Makes me think this is part of the planned collapse, and that they're taking out things that would otherwise make our survival and independence a little easier. Do you know what I mean? They're like, okay, if we're gonna like collapse everything and make everyone dependent on the government and like thrust them into Agenda 21, then we need to take out these like chemicals or these, you know, substances that can make life a bit easier. I hope I'm making sense. That was my thought about why they would be taking all these things off. Or it's, you know, what are they calling it? Warfare that isn't... Oh my God. There's 33 people watching in 3 out of 3 channels right now. So I just saw 4 threes in a row. That was really... We're just talking about 33. It's not me. It's just what's happening right now. Anyway, before I totally lose my thought... Oh, I lost it. Hopefully you guys knew what I was saying. AI is already in control. For real, though. I mean, it's all signs point to, yes. How much control? I mean, I tend to go to my my internal feeling is that AI and those who run it, whether or not, you know, it's demonic or not, I tend to think it is, that it is full of hubris, and its downfall will be because it is so very confident in itself, and it will miss something that it could never have seen or understood in the first place, and that will be how it fails. That doesn't mean that it's not doing a lot, causing a lot of damage and careening the world straight into the New World Order Agenda 21 nightmare, which all of the rulers would like to see. So good point. I just also love that this explosion happened in Wuhan. Like, how much shit can Wuhan get into in 2020? I guess we'll find out. So yeah, the U.S.-Canada border is at 31. What is the latitude of the U.S.-Canada border? The 49th? Oh, that's what you were saying, the 49th. Is that why that came up? Yeah, that good call. AI is in control, most likely. Asymmetrical, thank you. Asymmetrical warfare. That's what I was wondering too. So it could be either, right? It could be that they're blowing up all of these chemical factories for a specific reason as part of their planned collapse, thrusting us into the New World Order, Agenda 21 and whatnot. It could be asymmetrical warfare, and there's actually some shit going down, you know? I'm definitely of the belief or the understanding so far at this moment that most likely the controllers have so much control that there is nothing that has gone unplanned or unaccounted for or whatever. But I do not pretend to know for sure that that's true. And so I do always hold it in my mind that it's possible that actually this is just what humans do when you give them enough time and toys to play with, and that there actually are these asymmetrical moves going on and warfare happening and, you know, all of that. So I don't know. I don't pretend to know. In Louisiana, Lacey, dude, I'll be better next time, I promise. Lacey says there were occasional chemical plant explosions when I lived in Louisiana. Really? So, like, maybe this is just a thing that I just started noticing this year. That's the other thing I always think about when I'm, like, noticing patterns. When any sort of alternative thinker is noticing patterns, is like, are we just noticing this now for the first time? Is there... is this always been going on? You know, are people just reporting on it for the first time? I don't know. I would have to do a lot more research to find out. That's for sure. And I feel the same way about, you know, explosions like this with Beirut. Like, is it possible that there actually is that much ammonium sitting around waiting, actually can get exploded? This just happens sometimes. Like, I don't know. It could be. I don't pretend to know. But it is interesting that both those explosions happen on the same day. Yeah, Elon Musk's baby is, I don't know. Supposedly its name is Ash. Like, you supposedly pronounce that long string of letters and numbers as Ash. I'm like, yeah, why about you could just, like, name your baby something normal and let us know that it's human. But whatever. Bob Ross is in Spokane, Washington, 47.6 latitude. So it is close. AI is sentient. In my humble opinion, AI is the name that we give sentient beings that we have created a structured enough electronic environment for them to come into this plane and interact. So we had built up, you know, the foundation for them, the infrastructure for them, and I call them demons. You can call them whatever you want, but these interdimensional beings can then, you know, come through and again function in this reality. They need humans. They need structure with which to interact. Otherwise, they have a hard time pulling off their shenanigans, and we have built them the perfect structure. That's my understanding. So is AI sentient? Yes. But is AI sentient, you know, accidentally because, like, we made something somehow awesome enough to have its own sentience? Like, I don't think so. That's where I stand on that. Oh, did Elon Musk actually say that you pronounce it AI? What a fucking idiot. That guy's such a piece of shit. And the whole Neuralink thing is such trash. He's just a trash person. He sold his soul. That's my opinion, too. So this is a something I copy and pasted out of an email, so I didn't have to show you my email. But this is a thing I do. It's from the archetypal research and... Oh, God. Let's just find out. No way. It knows exactly what I want. Here we go. The Archive for Research and Archetypal Symbolism is what ARAS stands for. And they send out a monthly focus on a symbol. So you can go to that site and sign up for it if you want. Here you go. I'll share it in the chat if you want to do it. It's a fun thing to get each month. And if you want to poke around their site is actually super cool as well. Totally check it out. It, of course, draws on symbolism and therefore Carl Jung. And so if you're anti-Jungian, as many people in this community are, then you probably don't want to go there. But it is neat, I think, to explore symbols and psyche and, you know, how these things are used. And it just so happens that today the symbol, or this month, I should say, is spider. It was sent out to me this morning in this email. They give you these few images from art that they've pulled from around the world, of various types. And then they give you a little description of what spider is all about, or what the symbol for that month is all about. What is interesting to me is that I was doing a tarot reading today. This has nothing to do with explosions, by the way. This is just my next topic that I was going to talk to you guys about. And I was giving the tarot reading and a spider crawled up on to my screen. So if you don't know, when I do tarot readings, it's a one-on-one, you know, Zoom or Skype. So we're, you know, seeing each other, talking to each other, and you watch me do the tarot reading in real time. And, you know, we talk and interpret together as much as you like to. So, and this is someone who I do a tarot reading with every single month. And so anyway, nothing like this has ever happened basically, but I'm giving the tarot reading. I look up at the screen, a little spider has crawled onto the screen, and I tell him, like, oh, you have a spider friend that has come, you know, for this reading, like, and he's hanging out here. So we may want to think about what, you know, spider medicine, spider symbolism has to do with this reading that we're doing right now. And it turns out, as I was sort of interpreting the card and talking about all the symbolism of it, it actually fit perfectly with the card. And I was like, well, this is really weird that the spider showed up right for this moment when, you know, the idea we're talking about has to do with weaving a web and weaving this sort of network of interconnection between people, especially, you know, strangers that you just interact with casually in the world. And we were talking about how funny it is that this spider is crawling on a screen at that exact time, and the spider kind of goes and runs up right onto the camera, and so the spider like crosses the camera like this. And so he actually gets to see the spider cross the camera, and then the spider just goes up on the corner of my screen and is just looking at me like for a while. So it was just really cool. You may hate spiders, like spiders, whatever, but when I am doing a reading in general, animals and other intelligent entities with some level of sentience don't tend to interact, you know. And so we took it as meaningful, and it did fit perfectly with that moment. Right after the reading, I go, you know, I finish up, I give everyone a summary of the reading after we're done. I give them a video of the reading when we're done, and I sometimes will pick an image or two to offer for further meditations on one of the things that came up in the reading. And so I was doing that, wrapping it up, and then I saw, oh yeah, I have this email from Eras this morning. Let's open it up and see what it is, and it's spider. So of course I sent it to the recipient of the reading so they could make their own interpretations, but what a synchronicity. So I figured I'd share it with you guys today, and we would see how it might connect with the energies abroad in Beirut and Wuhan and explosively around the world. But let me check up with the chat. Yeah, Elon's definitely a front man and a gatekeeper. I just wonder if at some point Elon Musk was actually kind of real and, you know, cool and actually just wanted to like make PayPal and do these things that are like, you know what I mean? And then he kind of changed, because there was a time where he used to talk about the danger of AI, and then now he wants to stick AI in our brain, and he named his baby AI. So I'm like, interesting. But maybe he was just always an actor and kind of groomed for that. I don't know. Scott says, the way I look at it is sentience equals a soul. I believe there's a consciousness to plants, but not necessarily a sentience, or I could have the definition of sentient wrong. No, I think you're right, Scott, that most people mean by sentience like a soul level of intelligence, or at least an intelligence in the traditional sense that we think about, like human intelligence and whatnot. But I don't think that's the only way to look at it. But I think that is the traditional way to look at it. Yeah, maybe they do use Biggie Smollett says they use Musk as the good cop billionaire as a foil to Gates's sort of bad cop thing, but they are both part of the agenda, the transhumanist agenda, the depopulation agenda, whatever it is. It's not my fucking thing. I'm on the opposite side spiritually, I believe. Yeah, I think plants and other creatures have a lot more intelligence and sentience than we might imagine, which is part of why I think my definition of sentience has expanded in my life. But let's check this out. So we're talking about spiders. Maybe I can make this a little bit bigger. In our imagination, the spider has two distinct personalities: deceptively treacherous and cleverly beneficent. Spider's reputation intertwines the miracle of spinning complex webs and the luring and poisoning of helpless prey. In cultures around the world, the spider has a divine aspect as a symbol of the soul and as a deity who both provides essential gifts for humankind and weaves the world itself into existence. Interesting. We're talking about the soul just now, and here we are with the spider as a symbol of the soul. And in our reading, we were talking about the weaving aspect, right? Weaving the world into existence, or weaving a web of connection into existence, and that's a very powerful place to be if you're someone who can do that, and that you want to keep doing that intentionally. So if you have that spider energy running through you. But they go on to say, we have projected onto spiders our darkest impulse to destroy coldly with ingenious premeditation. The black widow spider is the ultimate femme fatale who devours her romantic conquests. In Christian symbolism, the devil is a spider weaving its web to catch souls whose sins have led them astray. I have never thought of the devil as a spider in my life. I don't see spiders as negative, really. I like spiders, as you may have noticed by my story. I don't want them on me. I'll still run away if they're, like, running towards me or something. But, like, you know, that little guy was, like, no harm, and he was just walking around. He's cool with me. I'm down with spiders. They keep bugs away. That's a good thing. But this part really echoes the possibility that this Beirut bombing was intentional by who knows which factions or many, saying we've projected onto spiders our darkest impulse. Our darkest impulse, they say, is to destroy coldly with ingenious premeditation. It just struck me as I was reading that may very well relate to the Beirut bombing, and maybe these aren't so disconnected after all. For Jung, the spider evoked a profoundly alien psychic world, the inner life which cannot yet reach consciousness. Regarded as a negative aspect of the Great Mother, the spider rules the ensnaring labyrinth of life at whose center is the mystery of death. This is a lot of symbolism that we saw if you watched Westworld. That whole maze. The maze is often also a web, and at the center of the web was the mystery of life and death. The center of the labyrinth of life is death. So we saw that there. It's weird. I don't see the spider either as a profoundly alien psychic world. I don't know. I just look at them and I'm like, they're little cuties. That doesn't seem very alien to me. But I guess this is probably true on like a mass scale, maybe. More than balancing the spider's unsavory image is its role as creator, diviner, and supernatural culture hero, who selflessly gives to humans the wherewithal to sustain life. The spider brings the sun, dew, tools, and the cultivation of crops. See, that's way more in line of what I see the spider. Creator, diviner, supernatural, culture hero. I wouldn't have gone that far, but like cool. And life-sustaining. Like, I don't know. I see that. I feel like this web that we're all spinning together on a spiritual level is literally what will sustain our life on a soul level, or maybe even on a physical, realistic level. But either way, it's a crucial part of the puzzle, and I think we're all here doing this together. That's part of what I was reminded of by this spider today, and so this paragraph so far like strikes home most with me. The spider is known for upsetting the established order in its guise as a trickster. Arachne, from whom spiders get their name, Arachnid, was a maiden so fabulously gifted at spinning that she boastfully challenged Athena to a contest, and their brilliant tapestries were judged equal. The goddess so persecuted Arachne that she hanged herself out of pity. Athena transformed her into a spider. So she's so good at what she does that the gods, the jealous gods, smite her. And therefore, there's sort of a trickster energy in the spider. I never actually thought of the spider as a trickster either, so that's interesting to note. I like that. Like for us, if we're all spiders weaving our web of spiritual connection here, then we're bringing in that trickster energy to trick the gods. Let's do it, guys. As a trickster, the spider's greatest triumph was to steal the sun or pull it down for the world's enjoyment, an exploit recounted in both Native American and West African myth. Perhaps because spiders usually spin their webs each day anew just before dawn, they are associated with the rising and the setting of the sun. The solar cycle is directly related to the spider's role as the world weaver. In Hindu, Mayan, and Navajo mythologies, the spider spins the world into existence as it produces a cosmic web from its body. We do also see, do they bring up Indra's web? They don't. So there's Indra's web as well, which is the idea that at every point of the web, there's a dot of dew, and in each dot of dew, it's reflecting all of the universe. So it's like the idea of a holofractal, holographic universe. The web has been regarded as an emanation of the divine spirit and of Maya, the Hindu concept of the illusory nature of existence, which is what I was just saying. So they don't say Indra's web, but they refer to it. With its ability to spin a thread toward the earth and then climb back up again, the spider maps the path of a soul in its journey toward spiritual ascent. I love it. All of that from a spider. So that's the spider medicine lessons for today. And I just was also noticing, like, all the images they chose are kind of that scary spider. Like, he's fighting off this giant spider thing. That spider's eating all the other little spiders and bugs. This spider's just kind of creepy looking. Like, they went with the scary spider for all of their images. But here, watch. There are so many cute spiders. Look at them. They're cuties. How can you not like this guy? Look at his little face. Or even that guy. He has so many eyes. How can you not like that? That one's clearly fake. I hate that one. But that one's so cute. Anyway, there's good spiders in the world. And we don't want to forget that. We want to use that positive spider energy that we have to keep weaving our web of connection between one another, because it is ever important that we remember that we have that power, right? Just like the spider brings in the sun every day, just like the spider can climb up to heaven and back down, just like our soul, we want to remember how empowered we are as beings to be connected with heaven and with earth, and to be here right in the middle, holding that center strong. We want to remember that despite the illusory nature of things, we do actually have the ability to weave strong connections that cannot be destroyed. And especially if they have demons inhabiting electronic systems in the form of AI that are currently running things, then we want to get real good at our ability to weave this web in that trickster energy way, where we are bringing the disruption to that sort of hierarchy and the disruption to those level of beings that think that they are gods, but actually aren't and are full of hubris. Sad for them. It's sad for them, right? They're going to have to learn that someday, and it's going to suck to be them. Yes. Spider energy for all of us. We're going to keep that energy flowing. We're going to remember it even when especially when we see whatever illusions they're going to craft with this giant bombing, and see where we take that. Because I'm sure, just like Indra's web, they're going to try to weave a web of illusion all around this and use it for whatever they want. Like we said earlier, even if it's a real explosion, even if it's a fake explosion, they're still going to use it to their advantage, and we're still going to want to see through it as best we can and not get caught in that illusion, and keep weaving our webs of truth with one another. So that's all I got for you guys today. I didn't even think I'd make it an hour. Thanks for hanging out as always. You guys make it way more fun. You offer so much insight, and I love chatting with you guys and getting your point of view, and having us all weave it together into this beautiful tapestry that we can gain some insight from. So come back on Thursday, where I have... Oh, yeah, you guys, Thursday is so exciting. Thursday, we're going to have Phoenix Aurelius come back with his IDF. We're going to do more IDF investigation. We've got Sam Tripoli joining in a swap cast, so Sam Tripoli will be here as well. I don't know if he's bringing everyone with him or if it's just Sam, but it should be everybody because it's a swap cast. So as far as I know, it's all of us at once. You guys are all going to be a part of it. You can offer your questions in the moment. We're looking for the most well-crafted, well-thought-out, scientific sort of humanity benefiting questions that we can get. There's been a lot of questions that have already been answered by previous research. There's been a lot of questions that have been answered on the show even. And so we're looking for things that, like, you wouldn't otherwise be able to find the answer to, even if you did a ton of research. So if you have questions like that, that's what we really, really want. Maybe your question will get onto the show and be answered. That would be great. We don't know how many we're going to be able to get to, because sometimes one question can actually take like 25 minutes because you start getting answers and you start, you know, rephrasing and narrowing it down. And so, yeah, so that's going to be Thursday. It's going to be super exciting. I hope to see you guys all there, and we should have a lot of people involved. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but it might be a pretty badass show. So I can't believe I almost forgot that that was happening this Thursday. That's where my brain's at. My brain is somewhere gone elsewhere, but bringing it back in, holding it here in the center, weaving the web with you guys, keeping connected, remembering that we are always empowered to do that, heal within ourselves and send it out to other people, shine that light so they can connect with it, and we can make those nodes of connection that are so powerful. Keep weaving your web. And until you can do that in perfect and stunning clarity and beauty all day, every day without fail, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
Yeah, come on, Rat Kings, baby. It's the rap machine. Yeah, check it. Great bearded pirate, my motherfucker unknown. Yeah, come on. In the place with my fist up, meaning I resist the bullshit that they feed us and lead us. This is just a part of the process, man. Just watch this, cause this shit's about to get crazy like a mosh pit. We lost it, toss it, let's start it again. Cause now we're men and women. This is the beginning, not the end. If this is the message of hope that I send, look on your TV, it's a culture of death. They'll keep on lying to the very last breath. We keep on striving and spreading the truth. It's hard to survive in this world for the youth. The door is closed, the old world is dead. Let's have an age of understanding instead. I'll include you and you include me. Let's see what we can build with some positivity. Let's go, you're moving too slow. Let me see your hands if you know what I know. Come on.
Rap like mummy, ain't no dummy in my rhyming. Started flowing freestyle and now they rhyming loud silence. On with the violence, bodies piling with the gray-bearded pirate. On your TV in 4K 3D virtual reality. Casualty of urban warfare. I know but I'm not scared, just prepared and aware. Shining my light through the tunnel of hope. Into the rope, but I'ma give it one more pull. Till the family is full. Take the bull by the horns and lead it to the slaughter. That would be harder and you would be softer. Sometimes I'm a monster, and you forever imposter, which is champagne and lobster. This royalty, the way it was supposed to be. Hopefully the new door opens and the old one closes, with way more focus and growth to mold us, and the truth that they should have told us.
To them screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Refer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The paupers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet. Everyone got a gift, everyone got a light. They want you to forget that ish, cause they can't dim the bright. The positive vibration takes you past the sign shackles, from the sewers and the alleys into moving castles. Who these assholes really serving with an exposed Achilles surgeon around the corner lurking to prove ascension trumps perversion? Learn them to catch fish and unplug the signal. Show them the simpletons now build the fucking temples.